sages of the podcast. The time has come. Execute Order 66.
And then you just need some really sad music where you just have a bunch of people dying as well, just being slaughtered.
Yeah, but you should have seen that. Yes, my lord. That would have been the complete meme.
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
Shame.
Shame.
Shame. Okay, welcome to a special episode of the SAO Central Fanfiction Central's podcast, or special May the 4th Star Wars episode. That we have
special almost May the 4th, but not quite.
A little late, but hey, it's a count that it's a tough then counts. Yeah. Well, here I am, this time the host Nain, the Sage of Death. No, Dark. Okay. It starts really good, okay. And I have two of my fellow sages with me, Len, the Sage of Death, and Panzer, the Sage of Lies.
Only the three of us.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's only the three of us, but...
Well,
yeah.
At least there are three of us. Better
Statistically speaking, that means this one should be the best.
Yes.
Due to the fact that there are so few of us that...
Only the best made it.
Yeah.
The best of the best of the best, sir, with honours.
Yes. It will be a little different podcast than the usual, because we are not reviewing anything. We are just having fun talking about Star Wars and memes. Lots of memes. Because
I mean, so much of the franchise you could just describe via the memes which have come out of it. So
yeah, and
particularly the prequels.
The
prequels are something else.
I really like the prequels because lots of meme material. I think
I can't take him seriously just because of all of
it. Yeah. It had nice points, bad points, and meh points, I think, but it was still overall, or maybe it's just because I grew up with just as the prequel trilogy came out, so it always will have a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah, well, I mean, Duel of the Fates will do that to you.
Ta-da.
No, you don't want to do too much, you'll be copyrighted. So, where would you say would be a good spot to start to talk about?
Well,
because there's a lot to talk about.
We have to start. Yeah. We have to start at the real beginning, the original trilogy, the New Hope, when the Star Destroyer descended upon Tatooine. No?
Yes. No, I just have to say, so just because just going over like parts of the original, been comparing it to the later ones as well, along with the prequels, the sequels and the prequels. I'm surprised how much of it holds up, really, in terms of the. It's not CGI, but it's all like little models on that. But yeah. I'm surprised how well it holds up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not definitely not a 2020 production, but despite what, more than 40 years old, the New Hope really holds up, really gives that Star Wars feeling. Yeah,
definitely. I'll go with that.
45 next year.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Doesn't time fly?
1977.
Yeah,
it came out.
Really, I remember 76. But still, that's been a really long while, and thanks to that first movie, we have such a large universe to just have fun with it.
Yeah, that's one thing I have to say about it, saying that it's so vast, you can focus on any point of the timeline and people would know immediately what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, maybe not if we go back like 20,000 years into before the
Yeah.
New Hope, but yeah, I'm that guy who is very familiar with the Old Republic and even older Republic parts of the Star Wars timeline for the expanded universe, or Legends as it knows now.
Well, yeah, because it's not canon anymore, is it?
Yes.
Or-
Don't remind me.
it shall be canon. It should be canon in our hearts.
Well, actually, come to think of it, if it's canon, it's not part of Legends. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a shame.
No,
but
I think it's part of what canon is, like the prequel and the original trilogy, part of the Legends too, because Legends really work through it. But what's Disney canon, that came after Disney brought it and did the sequel trilogy, which I really don't like, that's not parts of the Legend, because Legend have the very different storyline after episode 6. Like,
So-
way different.
So, in a nutshell, everything which was made post Disney buying is canon, but everything before is basically Legends, right?
Yeah.
anything before, besides main canon movies,
Yeah.
now the Clone Wars TV series.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which really a shame, because my favorite characters are in the Old Republic. My favorite characters are Legends, and I'm just, why took away such perfection?
now the Ewok movies as well. They're on Disney Plus, which means they're canon.
Yeah. That's
What a world we live in.
Yeah.
That's one way to say it.
When that's canon, but these other really cool things aren't anymore. Just
I mean,
okay.
that holiday special is not canon, right?
I hope not. I think the event in terms of what they celebrate, technically, I think it is, but I don't think the events of that special. I don't think the events of the special are, but
What I think is I mean, I was annoyed when they when Disney purchased the rights to Star Wars, cancelled the Clone Wars and retconned the series.
yeah.
So it's like they kept, like, the Clone Wars as an event itself was still canon, but they retconned the series.
which is
Yeah.
annoying. But oh well.
Yeah. Like, I think Disney angered a lot of people in it after it took over Star Wars, and really just Disney basically took like 30 or 40 years of games, novels, comic books, a lot of media that was made, and they just made it okay. That doesn't count anymore.
I guess it's one of the things of it's not canon in terms of the story they're telling at the moment, but it's still technically canon in its own little way, in its own separate timeline. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's not properly canon in terms of what they're doing at the moment, but it is in a different light.
it would have been good if they did that, but they just basically told that Legends everything that not made by them, and they don't care. Just it was almost like this, because yeah, I would have understood that it would be like an alternative timeline, but they just took over and said that okay, we are doing our own thing. I mean, by then Star Wars universe was really that massive that they could have done anything really at any point in time in timeline, and it wouldn't have clashed with other stories. But
Yeah.
I mean, if we stop.
No, I'm
But
just thinking, it's like I don't know what they could have done to solve a lot of issues. You know, like how Transformers creates like continuities and that. So you have the original Generation One continuity,
yeah,
you have Lined and that. So they could have done that, and they would have solved all the problems,
yes. Like,
or at least in chunk of them.
I think the problem is that so with the legends is they have this thing that we'll call it a thing.
it's a
Where
thing.
yeah,
Good Doctor Who reference.
thing. So you're basically telling the fans like, look, you can see these as canon if you want, but don't expect the ghost of don't expect the ghost of Revan to turn up in a Star Wars film.
Yeah, still sad about that. I mean, basically, the the rule of two that the Sith have in the movies, that only two can be one master and apprentice. It all came from Darth Bane, who took that.
Len's just died.
Like you are.
Yeah, I see it. Hang on.
Okay, that's that was scary. I generally,
Is it all right now?
yeah.
Yeah, it's fine now. What did you do?
Wasn't doing anything. Just sitting here.
Oh, and then it started just becoming static. That was
I mean, I thought it was, I don't know, but like an earthquake or something. Don't know.
Yeah, I'll need to try and get that sorted for when we start the audiobooks back up again. Then.
Oh yeah, that's it's been a while since I heard about it. What's going on with that one?
Well, I mean, it's been a while since I've heard anything about it as well.
Yeah. It's doing it again.
it's doing the static thing again.
Well, it wouldn't be a podcast episode without technical difficulties.
Of course not.
And it's always Len.
I think I don't know. It's something. It's probably something to do with the input or something in it because that generally happens if there's like I don't know, probably like a loose connection or something somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, you sound alright for now.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay, where were we?
I think I was. So just quickly before we move back on to Star Wars, so that day that we done the practice, that was the last time we heard anything about it. The training class from Tiger.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, hopefully something will be done when everyone is over with their exams and have more free time. Probably.
Yeah, hopefully we'll hopefully during the summer and that a lot of people should be free by then. So hopefully
That's way too funny. Okay, we have no plan, we have no organization, and we are down to two people. that if it isn't Star Wars in a nutshell, I don't know what.
comes all over the place and yet at the same time somehow we're all connected.
Yeah. Well,
see, the problem is it's such a massive wire that trying to keep it straightened just isn't working.
I see.
Okay. Wait, are you moving it at all?
Not at all. I am not moving it at all.
Yep, it's still doing it.
That's a shame because There's always something. There's always something which always goes on. At least one of them. There's always one thing which keeps happening in every single one of them.
Well, I
Come
think
on.
the last two was kind of alright in the terms that there was nothing wrong with technical difficulties. But yeah, it's kind of something always go wrong.
Maybe was it for the last one?
Destined to have something wrong. Microphone, computer, or my connection, or something.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh well, that's. I guess it wouldn't be us if it was if everything worked absolutely perfectly. So
Definitely.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
It's like against the law of the universe. If we could have a podcast episode without any difficulties, I think that would be end of the world, kind of.
I'll go with that.
Or at least we're out of the Death Star blowing up.
That's the moon.
It'll be because I said this should be the best episode ever because there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
But I've been immediately immediately just said nope, that's not going to be like that, and then everything started going wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, I don't know how that it could have been worse.
Don't say that. It's always just it's either how hard can it be or it could be worse, and then it just gets worse.
Well, in the meantime, I will post memes because memes are cool.
Well, I mean, if it messes up again, I'll just keep disconnecting and reconnecting.
Okay. Well,
Right.
if nothing else, we will always have memes. Lots of Star Wars memes. Fine additions to our collections.
This will make a fine addition to my collection.
A fine addition to my collection. Yeah.
Well, I should have got my road connection from earlier. It said that.
Don't leave me hanging, Panzer.
Hang on a second, it's going very slow for some reason. Come on. Please. Come on.
Somehow today nothing's working, right?
Why is
I'm ready as soon as you post it in, I'm ready for the next one. There we go.
Yeah.
So for some reason none of the gifts were loading. I do not understand. It does this sometimes, and I do not understand why.
Little bit of rebel gif.
Perfect. But yeah, I don't know. So continuing on to Star Wars and that, what would you say is perhaps one of your perhaps your favorite film or something?
Film or era or just in Star Wars general?
I'd say in general, in terms of the main films.
Okay.
Ooh. Like the core 9 and the 2.
Solo and Rogue One.
Yeah, always people keep misspelling it, so they spell it as Rouge One.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of blood spilt.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
I am one with the Rouge, and the Rouge is with me.
But yes,
that's like the Star Wars Suicide Squad. Someone had to say it. Well, my favorite would be. Ooh, that's really tough. I think it would be Return of the Jedi, because it's such a good. It has such a good ending, and the whole story it always keeps me so interested in it. And even if I have watched it like 30 times by now or more.
Well, it shows how good it is.
Yeah.
In terms, well, I'm sure we'll get to moments at some point, but in terms of the movie for now, probably, you know what? Probably episode 3.
I can
when
see
does
why.
it?
Genuinely, like, just because of the fights,
Yeah.
the music,
I have the high ground.
the fights, the music, and Ewan McGregor.
Yes, yes. That treasure.
National treasure, yeah.
International, yeah, national treasure, yeah.
This is where the fun begins.
He was perfect for Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Like,
Absolutely
I'm so
perfect.
excited that he comes back for the Kenobi show.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a watch whenever that comes out.
Yeah, we had to
Yeah.
wait almost 20 years, but he's back. He's back!
Mm. What about you, Panzer? What's your favorite movie?
Oh god. You know what? I'm going to go on a whim, and I'm going to say Rogue One for one particular reason. Ow. The very last scene.
Don't talk about it yet. Don't talk about it yet. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, but
Ooh,
I won't go into details, but that scene.
That scene, yes, that's
scene.
absolute perfection.
Yeah.
Like, even better than the old Obi-Wan versus Vader re-imaging. Even better than this.
That needs to be a segment today of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll just say that, and then we can move on. I don't want to give too much away for that.
That's enough. It explains everything and nothing at all.
I mean, yeah, but if you've watched the film, you immediately know what I'm talking about. If you've never watched the film, you have no idea. But if you've watched it, you know immediately.
That's just, I think, give it 10 years and it will be just as iconic a scene like the high ground. I mean, that's almost at that level, I think.
If anything, it's already more iconic than the I Have the High Ground scene.
No.
Because, well, I mean, the I Have the High Ground scene is more infamous than iconic.
Maybe.
Just because of the hilarity of it.
I have the high ground. And I have the boss memes.
My power.
And it's just so funny because it wasn't even the first time it was used. And people always forget that was the original high ground.
Yeah. And to think he had proceeded to live the rest of his life in the sand because that was the perfect defense.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it. Vader in his robot suit on Tatooine. It would be even more of a nightmare than when he's flesh and blood. It gets everywhere. It's coarse. It's rough.
And it gets everywhere.
You know, I wouldn't be talking about this Darth Vader scene. Spoiler. What an incredible scene. It's a Darth Vader we all wanted. We wanted.
Yes.
The most powerful, or one of the most powerful people in the entire galaxy.
The chosen one.
Yep. Basically, and it's not hugely shown in the rest of the films, which to an extent saying how truly powerful he is. It is shown in like the side comics and like other games and that, but not in the mainstream films as much. But that bit solidifies it.
But I think it's because it's most of the limitation of the time that at that time, because like when they made the original trilogy, they couldn't have made like him fight like we do see in comics, in video games, or just like how we want him to just go through a whole army by himself.
I mean, yeah, that is fair enough.
I mean, I always remember funny that the Force Unleashed in the prologue, then there's Vader and he's just Wookiee there, slash Wookiee there, slash Force Crash, choking. That was the Vader we loved.
Yeah, that's why. Honestly, that's why the prologue level in Force Unleashed is my favorite video game level
Yeah.
that I've ever played. Just getting to wander around, killing Wookiees. You get to kill stormtroopers if you want as well.
Yeah. Everyone is fair game because it's Darth Vader. But don't forget about the most powerful Sith of all time. My personal favorite. And I will.
Yeah, but
I will trigger.
he's not canon, honestly.
No. I will use the Force to choke you through the internet, Len. The power of the dark side is with me. My anger.
The thing is, Bane is canon, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's funny because that Bane is the one who came out with the rule of two, that only one master and an apprentice. And do you know where he got that idea from? From Revan's holocron. So there, basically, Revan is still canon.
The Revan is canon through
Bane.
Through Darth Bane, because he turned up in an episode in Clone Wars as well.
Yeah,
Bane.
I think they also plan to add Revan to it, but they just scrapped that idea. But he almost appeared in canon, so he's canon. I don't care what you say. And if you check, like on the Wikipedia, for Revan's page, there's a canon and a legends tab too. So take that, Revan is canon.
Mm-hmm. Although I must say, it is unique to have a purple lightsaber, because most people, usually it's a depiction of a blue and red. You don't get much other in terms of coloration. You do get the occasional green one, but you don't get much else in terms of other colors. So it's unique to see like a purple.
In games, you have lots of color.
Have you ever seen the Old Republic? They used to use use so many different colors.
Like a black, there's an orange blade with a white edge. A lot of colors are there.
I'm just coming from, because I know a little bit about like the Old Republic and that, but I don't know a huge amount. I'm just going from someone who's most experienced the era around the films, around them.
Yeah.
I've been fully experienced like a few thousand years in the background.
I'm the guy who's really familiar with the Old Republic, because for one of the first games that I remember playing was the Knights of the Old Republic with Revan, and I was really fascinated with that time, and even before that of the Star Wars timeline. So yeah, for me, if I have to choose which would be my favorite era of the whole of Star Wars, it would be Old Republic, especially around Revan and the Old Republic game. I would prefer it to the movies.
There's definitely a lot more going on then, so I can understand why.
I mean, I like one of the favorite things, because there's a lot of Sith and a lot of Jedi there, and a lot of fighting. Lots of awesome fighting.
Have you seen the cinematic trailers and stuff they brought out? Public.
Those are cool. But you have one very compelling idea why is the Old Republic is good, and it's called Hunter Killer 47. And there's no GIF. It's failed me. The Discord GIF collection failed me. They don't have an HK GIF.
Ah, that's a shame. Because I've experienced that before, where you try and find something you really want it to be there, and then it's just not there.
Yes. But yeah.
It's like when you go it's like when you go into a supermarket and you want a certain kind of food. It has every other flavor except that flavor.
Oh yeah. I feel that. I mean, it's a shame because HK is so ironic. It's like the droid. He's the droid that kills people. Meatbag. Statement.
Yeah, it's basically these guys are basically the IG units on crack.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
They were much bulkier, stronger armor as well.
Yeah, and they could disguise themselves as protocol droids. So you're just talking to a C-3PO and he just turns out to be assassin droid and prepare to die, meatbag.
The future is now, old man.
Ooh, the Star Wars The Old Republic game that has a storyline where HK returns and has a whole army of droids with Revan. And I was waiting for so long for this. An army of HK.
It would definitely be a sight to see.
Ooh, there was even there was also a different game where it also had an army of HK droids. Like way more threatening than the Clone Wars battle droids. And if I saw a group like that coming from me, Jedi or no Jedi, I would run.
Run away, save yourself.
Especially because these droids was made for hunting Jedi, so no chance. They just have no chance against them.
Yeah, the one thing I will say across the entire franchise, actually, is one thing I do like is the designs of all the droids and such.
Ooh,
they all look really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting designs.
Yeah, the ships as well, as a whole, look really good, and also like the vehicles as well as a whole. Just all of them just look brilliant.
Hover tank.
There is basically there are very few spaceships more iconic than a Star Destroyer.
Yes, that's definitely true. Or the Millennium Falcon.
Or the Millennium Falcon, yeah.
The thing is, the very first thing that you see in Star Wars is a Star Destroyer.
Yes, that's like the opening skill rolls up. The what do they call it? You know, that prologue sort of thing, then it tells what's going on. Words fail me.
The title crawl.
Yeah, that. And then just there's a vast space around, suddenly zooms on a planet, and then just Star Destroyer is. Ah, yes.
It's just the shadow going like over the planet and everything.
Yeah.
As if you're the first thing you see when you watch A New Hope.
Yes. And it's definitely interesting that they made just such a good and iconic skin when they basically didn't have CGI. So
yeah, it's all really small. It's all small models and that, and I find that fantastic.
And the details on it, like when you just see it in the movie, you just can't imagine it as really just a model or something, right? It looks so
Yeah.
real, so cool.
It's just the models are just fantastically done overall. Just all the vehicles and that, especially like all the like the walkers and that as well. Just all of them just really well done.
Yeah.
So kind of in a way, just because of using all the small models and that, just well not all of them small, but using models and that to replicate all the vessels and that to make them much bigger than they actually are. Just reminds me of Thunderbirds, but that's the story for another day.
Yeah.
No Thunderbirds, please. Not right now. Not right now. No Thunderbirds.
No, Thunderbirds are not good this time.
No go.
No go. But yeah, just I don't know. It's probably because they've been around for so long. But yeah, just quite a few of the quite a few of the ships and that are just so iconic. And well, of course, there's the most powerful one of all, and that's the Death Star.
Yeah, but
Well, perhaps one of the most iconic of planetary destruction weapons.
yeah, but also like the small fighters, like the TIE and the X Fighter, they are so iconic. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
just see
yeah.
one and just, oh yeah, Star Wars, the very best.
Yeah, you see one of them and you immediately know where it's from.
Yeah,
It shows how iconic
it
a
just
certain vehicle is. Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. It just shows that that first movie, that first movie, how it set the tone for the whole universe so much that it's always coming back to it in some way. Like in the prequel trilogy and the Clone Wars cartoon, the Republic starships are basically the Star Destroyers prototype.
Yeah, like that. I'm pretty sure that was where they took it from.
Yes, I think
when it ended, like when the Clone Wars ended and the Empire rose, they essentially took everything that the Republic had and made it theirs.
Well, the ones the Republic used are called the Venator class Star Destroyer, and it was made in the Kua Drive yards. And let me check it. Yes, they used them for a while, but but after a few years they were replaced by the Imperial class Star Destroyers. That's the iconic Star Destroyer. I think it definitely has similar origins, but it's slightly different.
So what happened to all the old Voyager class then? What do you call them? Yeah, sorry, whatever the class is called now. Yeah, what happened to all of them then?
They scrapped it.
Yeah,
they just scrapped the entire fleet.
Yeah, probably, yeah. That's what they did.
Let me check.
Like, I mean, they killed entire clone battalion or stormtrooper battalions and everything.
Well,
right.
They just got rid of them because they could, but at the time they could anyway.
But basically, I think they just stopped making the other starships after a while, and like with every vehicle with use, they will be simply broke down after a while. So, but
yeah,
but I could see that but I could definitely imagine that maybe the rebels managed to get a few of them, and maybe later they used in the rebel fleet among other ships, because they couldn't really be picky about what type of ships they use.
Yeah, I was just curious where they went, because you can't get rid of them that easily. They're giants. They're huge.
Well,
they don't just vanish out of thin air.
Well, yeah, I'm checking. Well, in the Fallen Order game, there were like all the ships, some that crashed, some that was just simply decommissioned, were salvaged by workers, and they were used to make the new ships. That's all I
Oh,
found.
Yeah.
oh, Fallen Order. Yes, yes.
So,
Okay.
so I was right then. They did just basically scrap them. I do remember playing that game, and that's essentially you essentially start off
Well,
as a scrap worker.
yeah, it's interesting because I just found that at least one Venator class was stationed at the Artam Prime Orbital dockyard several months after the Battle of Yavin, so they might have been still in some use, but in a much smaller number. Like
Okay.
like with buses or taxi, that older models might be still in use, but with a much smaller number than the newer ones.
I mean, it would certainly be interesting as a museum ship.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I would really love to see if they could have made like a 4,000-year-old ship and they still use it because it's so well maintained. Like a ship from the time of the Old Republic game, uh, like a Hammer class ship, and then just it shows up in the middle of. That's
I mean, if they keep it well maintained, I would imagine it going for thousands of
that's
years.
definitely interesting because that there's a ship called Hammer class ship that was used in the Knights of the Old Republic game and in the Star Wars the Old Republic game also, but it was also showed in the movies. Uh,
I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
yeah,
It's probably used as
but
one of those like a cameo.
I think it was made. I think it appeared in the movie before the game, but I'm still trying to check it. But I send the image. That's what I'm talking
Also,
about.
they were it's probably in like that final scene, like the final battle scene in the ninth film,
Hmm. Yeah.
the one where all the
Ah.
ships come in.
Ooh. Well, it doesn't. It isn't the same, but that's the ship. It's canon. That once I sent the Spima class Hammerhead corvette was just
You know
simply
what?
They
It's
are
not
very similar.
It's not too dissimilar, yeah.
yeah, and
Some little,
it was used by rebels, that one. So
is
it's
that
got
a gunner? Is that a gunner at the bottom of the second one?
yeah,
That looks like the only difference.
yeah.
The
But
gunner escape.
it's definitely interesting because like the Hammerhead cruiser, which I think it would might have been much larger because the bottom one is a corvette, so I think it would be slightly smaller. That it's interesting because a Republic ship from 4,000 years ago was used by the rebels, or at least something based on its design, and it's wow, such continuity.
I mean, you can't be too picky if you're a bunch of rebels. So
and it
take whatever you need.
and it's definitely worked because if it still remained, I mean, there was some with other vehicles, there were some strange ideas that simply died out because it wasn't working properly. So
Yeah, fair enough.
it's cool.
Yeah, it's nice to actually see some consistency in
Yeah.
terms of ship designs and that.
And I really like the callback because it appeared in the Rebels and Rogue One. So even though Disney basically scrapped the Old Republic, they still took their inspiration from them, and it feels so good. Like so good. Wow. It's been a while since I spent so much on the Wikipedia page. But
Yeah, it's not, I know. So it's nice going through a wiki for a certain franchise, and that you're just scrolling through it, just seeing how much you remember, and then realizing that the scroll bar hasn't moved at all, and you've been scrolling for like 10 minutes.
yeah. Eh, it's nice. I always love these little informations about Star Wars. Like back then, I just went to the Wikipedia page and just started reading. If I found something interesting, I opened a page leading into it and then started reading that too. And in the end, like 40 pages were opened in my browser, all of them from the Wikipedia. And I just realized that I spent 5 hours reading from 20,000 years before the Battle of Yavin and 100 years after the Battle of Yavin, and everywhere between. And that was
I guess it shows how good the like the lore is behind all of it. Now, and it's kind of like this is as if I enjoy franchises which have more in detailed lore into it. So if you can completely gloss over the lore if you want, which you can with this franchise, you can just focus on the films and you'd still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or focus a lot more into the lore and go into the comics, the novels and the games and that, and
yeah.
you would enjoy it just as much. Which
Yes.
are brilliant.
Yeah.
The thing with Star Wars though is they take that lore to the extreme. Is it that guy in the background of the Mos Eisley scene? Like you see him, yeah, he's got his own backstory. He's got his own figure.
Yeah. Or like in the Return of the Jedi, the old guy who went with Han's group into Endor. That it was retconned that it was Rex. It was Captain Rex from the Clone Wars. And I'm just, what?
Wow.
That's like, it's so nice, these little callbacks and these connections. It makes it all the more enjoyable if you know it. But if you didn't, it doesn't really feel forced or just didn't really bother you that what's it doing here. So it's really interesting how much it can accomplish. The world.
I mean, I understand why it's been retconned because I don't actually think the clones could live that long.
Oh, okay. How long can they live then?
I think they
20 years or something.
Well, if you think about, well, let me check. I will check it.
I think it was 20.
I think it wasn't stated. I think because it's just that they have a generated or accelerated growth, so that's why they in Rebels they or old men despite they should have been around physically around 40, I think, but instead they look like 60. But I think
because they have a what's it called, a sped up aging rate or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's I don't know. So for some reason, I don't know why I immediately just thought of this, but I just immediately thought of Metal Gear Solid with Solid Snake, how he has a very sped up, it's sped up aging.
It's somewhat similar, I think, but it's not. It has differences because I think they at least at the start they were their growth rate has really accelerated because to have them ready in a few months or a year to serve as soldiers. But I think after that it would be like 2 times the natural aging, because if you think about it, they were around 20, look at around physically around 20 in the Clone Wars, right?
Okay, yeah.
Then took almost 20 years and you get Rebels where they look like 60-year-old men around. So by simply doing the math, I think it would be around 2 times the aging.
Okay.
So probably whilst he'd only be what 30, 35
Yeah, around.
by the Battle of Endor. Something like that.
By Endor, I think, yeah, around, yeah.
Probably about 30, 35, yeah. He'd look about 90.
Yeah, or 80, because it wasn't even 10 years between the Rebels and the Battle of Endor, because the Rebels ended around a year before Yavin, and the Battle of Endor was 3 years after it, so 4 years. So we have 70, I think.
Either
70,
way,
80.
So
he would look very old.
Yeah, Rex was born in 32 before Yavin, so 10 years before the Clone Wars. So he would have been around physically 20 around at the start of the Clone Wars. So
Okay.
around around 70, I think he would look like physically. He would be around 70.
But would I actually be 35?
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Moina.
Yeah, I really like coming back. It's really interesting because like so many things about Star Wars were established in the first movie, because like a lot of alien species that legends use, like Devorian and Beat, these were all appeared in the first movie. Like even then they were there, and they just writers had to just sit down and work on them a little more to give them more of a backstory.
Yeah, which is nice. They actually spent the time and effort to actually do that for everyone.
Yeah.
Like that's what's great about Star Wars pre-Disney, was everybody had a backstory.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And then we got Disney, and somehow Palpatine survived. This guy has no backstory, but somehow contributes to the plot and saves the people, and we have no more of him. Yeah. I think I will stay silent in the sequel topic, because I really have my problems with it.
We all do.
You know what? The part about Palpatine still being alive itself is stupid, but him being around, like as I don't know, as a force or
Yeah,
like a Palpatine.
I mean, in the comics, there he was still around. Like there was a clone of him that he used to possess, and I think there was a few other things. What bothered me, because at the end of the 8th episode there was no sign, nothing, like not even an end credit scene like in the Marvel movies that, "Ooh, here I am, I'm returning." And then they just started episode 9 and like they just started.
Line of the call.
I mean, just
The dead speak.
Yeah. I mean, and they just started episode 9 and just rolling the opening screen and just Palpatine returned, and just what? I mean, why? How? When? And why?
But let's face it, we joined everybody else and lost our shit when at the end of that trailer. Be honest with yourself. You were excited at the prospect of Palpatine being involved.
I was definitely excited, but it was definitely wasn't. It was just came out of so left field, and I didn't even feel like in the movie it didn't even explain itself, and it was just what, and just why, and just why do this? Why do this like this? I mean, he basically made the First Order, and then he had a second group of followers to make a secret army, and they just basically copied the Star Wars, the Old Republic, the Fallen Empire expansion story, because that was it. This is it. Because that was that the Sith Emperor died, and then he shows that with the Secret Empire and the whole army at his heels. And then came a movie, and just this hurts, man. This hurts very deeply.
I guess yeah. If they if they inferred it, or at least had some little snippets or something which
something to I don't know, tease us with it, or just something that doesn't make sense when you watch it, but then the new movie comes out and you rewatch it and that's, oh, so that was it. So yeah, Palpatine was returning all along, like something like this, and I would have been okay with it.
I'll tell you something. I would recommend reading the novelizations of the sequel trilogy, because they do go into a lot more depth and detail of the things surrounding the movies.
Yeah, that is just a problem, and it has to it rests on the novelization to fill the plot holes of the movie.
Pretty much.
I mean,
yeah.
In the other movies novelization, it adds a new detail, a new perspective, but it doesn't really go about solving the plot holes. I mean, it just adds bonus information, but
yeah, but it helps. It helps with trying to piece together what's supposed to be happening. And I think it was the same. I think it was the same guy that wrote all 3 books as well.
I see. Well,
so it's not as if it's not like with the switch of directors where they did again what's happening.
Oh, well,
I could be wrong though.
I don't know. I have to say that anyone who likes the sequel trilogy, good for them. As separate films, I like 7 and somewhat 8, but just as a sequel trilogy to Star Wars, I really don't like it. It has good parts, it has bad parts, but for me it's just like a very bad fan fiction.
Okay, so it feels like if it was a different franchise, it would be better.
Or even if it wasn't really trying to show it down the canon characters that just happen there to make it the nostalgic feel. Like I said before, if it would have been any other era, like maybe 100 years later, different set of characters, maybe some of them the descendants of the old ones, but still different characters, I would have been okay with it. But that...
There's one thing I do appreciate about it is them killing off the original cast.
You like killing people?
Both Luke, Han, and Leia. But what I mean is basically, like, look, these 3 are now dead. They're not coming back.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it because they had their story. But then don't make... I liked Han's death because I cried at that time when I first watched it, I admit it. But it was really... I think it made... justice to his character. But then what they did to Luke, no, that is a different thing.
Due to the strain of
I do feel like they could have done that very differently.
Yes, but
they could have, yeah.
I mean, that's just me because I also read some of the comics that take place after the original trilogy, so I know how the original Luke Skywalker should have been like, and then watch this and that milk skin, and just it was kind of redeemed with the very last where he's just playing Kylo Ren like a little kid, like, oh, almost got me, oh, I'm not even here. That was kind of cool, but everything between the start of the film and between that, and just okay. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense that he somehow lost his fighting spirit, he lost his trust in people, or just a Jedi. It's a good story idea. It's good offline of story to go through, but then really just abandoning everything that he stood for to that extent, and they just what they did to his character, I really don't. It doesn't sit well for me, but it might be just me.
And then obviously with Leia, they didn't have much choice in the matter with Carrie Fisher's death.
Yeah,
Which is very
that was a sad day for Star Wars fans.
It was like the day after Christmas or something like that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around Christmas, definitely.
Yeah, they had no choice for that, which is understandable.
Yeah.
They did definitely do a good job around that, though.
Yeah, they could have a lot worse, I admit it. So that one I can't fault them it, but and it's not even the original cast that I have problem with it. I have problem with it like they made Finn such an interesting character in the first movie. He had such potential. He was groomed to be a Jedi, and they just spent 2 films basically ignoring him, degrading him to merely a side character, and then they try to make him, for the last of the trilogy, make once again a main character to have a new trio, and then just there and say it's not the same. It's nowhere not the same. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's like they could have done a lot more with his characters. Like that would have been a very good character arc in terms of him being from where he was and then gradually progressing and learning, and then say if he became a Jedi at the end of it, I think that would have been a very good.
Yes, I mean he was basically made to be a Jedi. But the whole he's always used in the 7th episode. He always used the lightsaber. He really fought against Kylo Ren and held his own for a little time. And he's really has such a good character path laid down to it, because he was the deserter. He's afraid. He's quick to lie, to try to get out of things. But when when it counted, he stood there. He came back. He was really like Han Solo. Like when it really counted, he came back to save the day. And then just all those little hints that would have made so much sense that if he ended up as a Jedi. So yeah, I have my problems with the sequel trilogy. I mean,
we all do.
I mean, I kind of can enjoy the movies by themselves, but when I try to think about them as a trilogy to the original trilogy, then the problems start, and they just come and come.
It snowballs throughout the films, and then eventually it's too big to stop by the end.
I mean, one thing I really didn't like in the final movie, like all through the movie, like that Finn had something important to tell to Rey about. And I don't know if he even said it, but it definitely wasn't important because I don't even remember it.
Yeah, if it was important, you remember it.
Yeah, I mean if I didn't like movies 8 and 9 so much, I still watch them. I still remember most of the interesting and important scenes because they were at least nice to look at. At least they got that right.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah.
I mean, they had good parts, interesting parts, and meh, and then just bad.
And overall, it does cancel each other out to becoming
meh
overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need Kitsune to do that Joey Wheeler voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so basically overall, original trilogy, brilliant. Prequels, I'd say that they are really good. They have their moments. Although I mostly remember them for the for the jokes which come out of the memes and that coming out of it. And the sequel series could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same page because the original trilogy, it was really hit the spot. It really hit the tone of the whole franchise and just did an amazing job. I think the prequels was could have been better in some parts, but it was interesting because it was set up the scheme for the original trilogy, made a lot of background clearer, even those who didn't really read books or comics. So it has a nice touch, but sequel trilogy, it's I think a lot of people who basically they grew up with Star Wars. It was already a bad decision in the part that they made a lot of things legends, and they just cut a lot of already established lore out just to make this film. So a lot of people already gone with that mindset in there, and I was the same. And yeah, it has such holes in it. It's meh, it's really meh.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, I'll go with that. I can't really add any more onto that, really.
I mean, it has good moments, and as a film, you can watch it once or twice and enjoy it. But if you really like Star Wars, it really likes its plot and lore, then you just start watching it and no, no, no.
I think you might have answered your own question in terms of why they've done it. It's better for a casual audience rather than the fans, really. So it's to sort of introduce a newer generation into it.
Yeah, it was basically made for the new generation to enjoy it, and it's I mean, they could have tried to do something like to make everyone enjoy it, because it wouldn't have been that much hard. I mean, I think I saw fan fictions of Star Wars with greater and more interesting plots than some parts of that film, like the dagger in the last movie that pinpoints the location of the where the city's hiding places. That was a massive plot hole.
Mm.
Well, let me try and find a meme for it.
The only Star Wars
Yeah, you cut off.
Well,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, more technical difficulties. Russia free.
Oh, I'm finding the new memes.
It has snow in it, so it counts.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely watch it during Christmas.
I'd watch it anytime. Anytime.
Yeah. But especially Christmas. Ooh, there's so many memes.
Oh god. Oh.
No, that's my kind of meme.
Somehow.
Right, are we back?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Are we back? There we go.
When in
I
doubt,
think,
turn it off, turn it back on again.
yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I basically just switched back to my phone at 75%, so it will go.
Right.
I will go for as long as my phone will last, or whenever we finish, whichever one comes first.
I see.
Okay, it depends on how well the battery lasts, but hopefully it'll be fine.
Oh, it completely kills my battery. It wouldn't surprise me if I'd be genuinely surprised if this lasted more than half an hour.
Yeah. Well, we are a little over 1 hour right now, and this meme is just shows my entire opinion of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, just the kind of the point is that he died, and that's kind of the point. He died with the Empire. Oh well.
Describe the war prequels with one line. Even better.
Oh god, that's cursed. That is cursed.
The stuff of nightmares.
Well, yeah, I would definitely drive it. Yeah. I'm still looking for the meme, so try to talk.
Yeah, I don't know. In terms of, I do enjoy the originals, but in terms of if I just want entertainment value, I'd just go to the prequels.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
the prequels are definitely more entertaining.
yeah,
Like in terms of like not only just the memes and the jokes and everything, but the action scenes are obviously of a much higher quality because it's 20 years in the future or whatever.
Yeah,
like 20 years after the original trilogy.
Yeah, they have a lot of new technology available, but it's still interesting because for the prequel trilogy, Hayden and Evan trained to actually fight, or at least make it look good, and it's awesome how much effort it went in it. But also, people, I just watched the interview with Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford back when the episode 5 just came out, and I was surprised to learn that even then Mark Hamill had to learn about kendo to film the scenes for the Vader fight.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's really nice to see them putting effort into it.
Yeah, it's probably just because how much the CGI has developed since the original trilogy, but it's like one of my favourite scenes in terms of just pure action is the beginning of episode 3.
Yeah, but just the flying, the ships.
Oh, that's such a good scheme. The whole of that, basically, you see the battle, and then here just simply the fighters fly in, and then you just start to follow their line, their position.
Yeah, just weaving between all the ships and that's. I just really just enjoyed that scene just for the spectacle. Eye candy, that's the word. Eye candy. It's very good eye candy.
I wouldn't have. You know what? I would have liked that mission in Star Wars Episode 3, the video game.
Oh, I haven't played
rather than having it just start on the ship.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because he was the only Jedi who had permission to have several eyes. Because he had to keep his species alive.
Oh my god!
Is this why he kept distracted, going over completely other stuff as well instead of the most important bits? Gets more time. Oh god!
I love these memes.
When he only usually died at the end of episode 3 because he wasn't there.
Ah.
He's actually doing the job.
That hurts when it counts.
Poor guy.
Ooh.
Oh, for God's sake, what's it with this? What's it with this specific template?
Oh, it works so well. Wow. But yeah, just overall, it's
oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's just overall, I would defend that the originals are definitely the better films, but in terms of if you just want to sit down and just watch some things for entertainment.
I mean,
Just
basically, the prequels were made to set up the original trilogy, to add to it, but the original trilogy still has a feel to it that's really different and really sticks together into one massive story. So
yeah. And you can take each bit individually, and you'd still enjoy it just as much as if you watched all of it, if you're a fan of it. So
yeah,
okay.
I do feel bad for the child here. Imagine it's like you're getting to take a photo with Boba Fett. One of the greatest bangers. So, it's like he takes his helmet off, the Mandalorians are not supposed to do. And it's Harry Potter. Who wants to take a photo with Harry Potter?
Lots of Harry Potter fans, apparently.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting because Boba Fett became such an iconic character despite having so little focus or at least involvement in the films. And they basically, what counts now as legends, made him to be who he is. Because that added a lot of backstory to him and a lot of interest. Like the comics, the books, the games. So it's really interesting that despite most of his story being legends now, he's still such a famous character for Star Wars, even to the one that they haven't added him to the Mandalorian because they couldn't miss out Boba Fett.
Oh yes, they had to. Him getting added to Mandalorian was basically the confirmation to a lot of people that he actually survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice. Nice because he is very iconic, even with his very small impact in the films.
They love these memes.
Well, I mean, he's in what 5 minutes of episode 2, 5 minutes of episode 5, and 5 minutes of episode 6.
Nice.
There's always a bit of truth in legends.
I love it. That's why I love the Mandalorian, because it has such good callbacks to legends.
I would recommend watching season 2 if you still haven't done it.
Right now I'm watching Fate Unlimited Blade Works, but after that I will definitely watch. It just I'm watching so much already because I also started watching Nodama Cantabile, an anime that I watched like 15 years ago, and it's really just a kind of rom-com, but I loved it as a kid, and I still find it's really fun. So yeah, too many things to write, too many things to watch, too many things to read.
Hopefully during the summer you will have plenty of time to do such things. So
yeah, hopefully. Oh, what would I do if I had the ability of Dio Zavardo to stop time?
Zavardo.
And that's why we need to use a glyph. Zavardo!
I need to watch JoJo again before part 6 comes out.
Ooh, I've just finished part 4, so I'm about ready to jump into part 5. But
I wish you luck. It's going to get even more bizarre.
Nice.
If you thought it's not going to get any more bizarre, oh yes, it will, and then it's going to get even more bizarre.
What is this? What is this? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Even bizarre. Oh my god! Who'd have thought?
Oh my god! Ooh, such memes are there.
One advantage of having such a large franchise is that you get a lot of jokes running through it. So
Or did you see the real life lightsaber in YouTube?
I think so.
In the guy, the hacksmith who made it. It was
Wow.
around last Christmas. It was really a huge thing. I just watched that because they basically made a few proto sabers first, but they just didn't the blade couldn't retreat because it was a solid tungsten rod or something similar. And around Christmas, he finally made one where he basically has a hilt and then he can just make the blade.
Oh, that's
Len, Len, I can't hear you.
it sounds like you're drowning.
Yeah.
But it's all I've got at this point, so
Nah,
That's a lot,
you
that's a
come
lot
back.
better. What do you do?
yeah.
So, what did you
So
say?
I don't know what I'm doing. I said, isn't that the guy who's done like Mjolnir and Stormbreaker and everything as well?
Yeah, he did. He did a lot of things. Like he made almost everything. Like I don't think that he made Captain America's shield. He tried to make an Iron Man armor. A lot of things. Like he basically makes a new video with something new almost every week.
That's very nice. I'm trying to see if fictional stuff actually works in the real world.
He basically does it. He really makes fiction ideas into reality. Like one of their projects were to make a small-sized Tesla car before it came out, I think, or just as it came out by themselves.
Oh,
So,
neat.
or like right now they are making a power loader from Alien, I think.
Interesting.
So he makes a lot of very interesting videos. So definitely, if you interested in it, you check it out because the videos itself are very entertaining, but he's really explaining the physics and engineering behind them really well.
That's what I like to hear. Like actually explaining how stuff work, unlike other technology I know of.
Yeah. So I really advise to check out the Hacksmith because he makes he like made the Han Solo's blaster just because he had a sudden idea one day. So
Imagine be able to do that.
well, as close as again, he basically made a small pistol that could fire like that emergency rocket, or what do they call it? Uh, Words fail me again.
I can't think of what the words are either.
What was it? Sorry.
Let me try to find something.
Right, so what were we looking for again?
Uh,
Word for something.
like the Hacksmith made the Han Solo's blaster from a pistol that can fire like yeah, like an emergency light or something. Don't
A
know.
flare gun.
A flare gun, yes, that was it. Yeah, he basically made put used the flare gun as a base and made a kind of Han Solo's blaster from it.
Not bad.
That's interesting.
Maybe they have
You're
a bit.
definitely shooting first with that thing, aren't you?
Hmm?
You're definitely shooting first with that thing, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm bad with words. We know that.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it's more frequently that it happens.
I mean, to be honest, English isn't your first language, so it's more justifiable.
Yeah. That's interesting because I read and write and watch things in English so much. Like just one of these days, I went into the store and I just started talking English halfway through, and just the clerk just looking at me as, what?
Oh yes, first step to world domination has begun. The world shall become English.
Wait, it isn't already.
Always has been.
Yeah, I think there was a would you rather on one of those personality tests we took the other day. It was like, would you rather? It's like, would you rather the whole world speaks in one language but not be able to visit anywhere, or every country in the world speaks a different language and you can go and visit them all.
But you not be able to translate between them, sort of thing.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, I remember that. Then we can also can't hear you again.
Technical difficulties.
You my ears.
Sorry.
That was scary.
All right.
Anyway,
I don't know if it's the thing is I never know if it's going to work or if it's going to break.
okay.
Because obviously I can't hear what you hear.
Yeah.
Only thing I can probably suggest is before just check quickly, just before it actually begins, to make sure there's no difficulties. But these things just come and go, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's sometimes it happens, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, sometimes it happens every like 30 seconds, and other times an hour can go by without any problems.
Yeah. Oh, I love these memes.
What happened before with my computer, basically what I did was I just enabled noise suppression.
And that managed to, oh god.
That managed to stop it for that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've no idea what the problem now is, because I already have noise suppression put on.
Sorry, I'm just finding memes.
It's fair enough, because you're not really be able to hear yourself unless there's an echo in someone else's headset or something. You're unable to fully hear what the other yourself, or like what the other people are hearing anyway. So
sorry, I just distracted myself with memes.
It's getting way too distracting now.
Spaceballs was a really good film.
Ooh, I love that film. It
When they
was.
when they proceed to buy a VHS or something of the film they're in, so they try and plan ahead and try and see if they can win that way. They don't, but I just found one of the best fourth wall breaks I've ever seen in film.
You guys remember this?
Oh god, that man. Oh.
I do I never... Oh right, yeah. the dream duo from Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Well. But yeah, just I forgot what I was going to talk about now.
I just distracted myself. It means Len had sound problems, and before that we talked about Hexsmith and lightsabers.
Yes, it seems like yes.
Yeah.
It's weird. The one time we're actually allowing ourselves to spend time talking about Star Wars, we're running out of Star Wars things to talk about.
No, I have a lot of things to talk about, but I don't think you just want me to talk about Revan, the Old Republic, Naga Shadow, and the other Sith before them, because I think I have at least 3 hours in me before my throat might get sore, but I don't think you guys want me to just go full Old
To be
Republic.
honest, we have glossed over a lot over the prequels and the original series. We've kind of been mostly focusing on how we can improve the sequels. So
Well, I really want to write a rewrite story for that one, but I have enough in my plate already.
do what
Great
you're
idea.
already having. Yeah, don't add anything else to it. The Metal Gear one leave that one for now. It's fine. Just do it another time. Do what you have at the moment. Finish them to a point, or
Panzer,
just keep them.
Panzer, I have 6 active stories that I try to update as much as I can. I have around 40, if not 50 story IDs saved on my phone. About those 50, at least 10 have the first chapters written already. A few second chapters are also done. And
I guess.
And I'm
Yeah.
also writing the call fic at the same time, so
All I can suggest is just stick to the 6 for now, and perhaps I don't know, release what do you call it? A one chapter or two, just and put that up and see how well that's received. If it's very well received, continuing on with them, fine.
yeah, I will definitely try to write at least 5 chapters of any story before I start uploading, so I have a backlog to fall back to. And yeah, right now I think 6 is more than enough, because I usually have 6 words opened up in front of me. One, the story that I want to update next. One other story that I writing the first chapter. One other story that I probably write the second chapter. The collaphic. I write a few one shots for story IDs to see them if they work better. I usually have the 6th story or something whenever I have time uh, uh, or just want to work on it. So yeah, I just really want to write a fic for Star Wars, rewriting the sequel trilogy, but I just no, it's too much work right now.
I think last count I had 9. I think at the last count I had 9 ongoing.
I have no idea how you managed to do
that. Let's see. I've got the My Hero rewrite.
Can't hear you again.
So I was just going through in my head which ones I've got, and kind of muttering to myself.
Ah.
Yeah, noise suppression is on, so if I talk too quietly, it's not going to pick it up for whatever reason. It seems to be the problem. but it does stop. It does stop the static.
That's nice. Although that is more of an inconvenience with the sounding like you're in the middle, you're trying to talk in water.
Then if it's easier, just write into the podcast chat that what are you working on right now, because we can't hear you. Yeah.
Panzer, why don't you talk about what you're working?
Couldn't catch it. Len?
I said, hello.
So we couldn't hear you for like a good 30 seconds because it sounded like you're in the water.
Oh my God! Right.
That's why I said.
Give me a second.
Try writing it into the podcast chat instead.
That's what I said.
Ah.
What I'm working on?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Whilst I type this out.
What I'm working on, there's the sequel to Sabretooth's Tale currently, which is Gunshield, which is very slow progress currently, but progress is progress, I guess. There's also the I actually have a name for it now, but the EU server idea for SAO, that's now become the what was it called? Oh, it's bugging me now because that was a name I recently came up with. Hang on, because I was actually really happy with that name as well. There you go. There you go. Ballad of the Einkrad Crusade. That was it.
I remember. Yeah, it was.
I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that name actually. So I'm creating. There's an idea. I think I've just about started writing on that. We're getting us some ideas around. I may take a while for things to actually get going on that. There's collab to continue on doing, and then there's also some other ideas for other stuff which I've been working in the background, which I'm not sure if we're going to go anywhere.
Len, you really want to go there? Want to fight against me? Who has more stories? Couldn't hear you again. I just really not sure how.
There we go.
God damn it.
There you go. If you sigh annoyingly, it works. Every time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Every time you've done it, it's worked perfectly after.
Yeah. True.
Thing is, I don't want to be too loud because, as I've said, my family is in the house. So
fair enough.
I'm asking them to.
Len, you're again static.
Drowning again. Drowning. Oh, God. I think it must be the noise cancellation thing or something. Because but if you remove it, then it does the static. But if you put it on, it does it makes it sound like you're trying to talk with water. So I don't know anymore.
Who knows?
I
love that works.
Memes.
Well, I mean, turning the noise suppression off, it will pick up a lot more. I know that much.
It sounds like it's raining.
Yes, staff that was before. Yeah,
it's getting worse.
Very worse.
Wires are all tangled up. I'm trying to straighten them out.
you mute yourself while you're trying to do that? Or...
Yeah, my RS.
There we go.
Well,
Excellent.
maybe it will be maybe a good idea to start finishing up the podcast because we really gone off topic with this, and my ears still bleeding.
Apologies, viewers, but unfortunately, technology doesn't seem to be working too well with us today.
It never does.
It never does, but especially today. Because, wow, it's god awful today.
Eh? Turn me down just now. Turn what down?
Yeah, user volume. If you right click on a name,
yeah,
adjust the user volume.
Lower it. Yeah. I mean,
let's take it to 100% for now.
I think it was a miracle that it kind of worked up until now. So we had a 1.5 hour without.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Len trying to defend us.
Marvelous for now.
Yeah. For now. Yeah.
I heard something about us winding it down.
Winding down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone mentioned something about winding down.
Well, I think we kind of gone very off topic, and I don't know if we have any topics or ideas that you wanted to talk about, so maybe we should slowly finish up the podcast. What do you guys say?
Yeah.
I mean,
did we end up talking about that last scene from Rogue One?
No, we didn't. we left.
I wanted.
Because we all know it. Because we all know it. It's.
Yeah, but it's so great.
Yes.
Can't not. It's like we've spent so long talking about how bad the sequel trilogy is and what we would do to change it.
Yeah.
And now we have a chance to talk about something great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before we finish.
Something beautiful.
That particular scene would not change anything about it. It is just perfection to the T.
Yeah. I mean, this just really captures the feel of Vader and how the average rebel soldier could measure up to him.
Yeah, basically a class of his own. No one can mess with him.
Yes.
I mean, it's the fact that they're all in this essentially a closed-off space. They're trapped. They're trying to get these plans through, and all of a sudden, you turn around, you look at the end of a dark hallway, and just a red light appears,
and everyone knows that they are fucked.
Exactly.
I think, there was so just that scene, perfect. I think there was a very similar scene in Jedi Fallen Order as well, for the last bit of that.
Yeah, when he somewhat similar with Vader.
Yeah, you beat the second sister, who's essentially the main boss of the game, and she's just standing there, and then you hear the breathing.
Yeah.
And you know something's about to happen.
Yeah, and then it's just he appears, and then you go to fight him, but there's no health bar, so there's something wrong here.
You can't even fight him because I watched the video. Len, you are static again.
Like it's like changing the channels.
Yeah. But yeah, like you can't even fight against him because I watched the video of when a player tried to fight against him. he just dies. Really badly, he dies. And that's the level of Vader.
The only way to win that fight is just run. You
Yeah.
have to run.
Yeah, either you are a protagonist and you can fight him or not. Mostly not. I
The
mean,
thing is, that's in fact it's Rogue One Vader as well.
yeah,
Like
that's like it's not that long, like 5 years after episode 3. So it's really young Vader, so to speak.
this is Jedi Hunter Vader,
Yeah,
comic Vader.
the Empire's Fist. Or he had a nickname like that or something like this.
Yeah, like the Emperor's Fist or something like that.
Yeah. Because he had the Black Hand, those were spies, and there was Mara Jane. But he was saying, I think he was called the Emperor's Fist.
For good reason. Because we're one of if not the most powerful person there.
Yeah.
But yes, in terms of those two particular scenes, that's the Darth Vader everyone knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Darth Vader everyone wanted for so long after seeing the what he was like in 4, 5, and 6, the lightsaber duels, and he's just kind of lumbering around lightsaber and blocking everything.
Sorry. Got distracted by memes again.
God's sake, why would you post that when I'm in the middle of saying something?
I'm saying something good about it when you bring up that.
It's the memes.
Anyway.
The memes are too powerful.
Are we remembering that she's also like 20 years older than him as well? Obviously not quite 20 years, but...
The less said of that, the better.
Sorry, but these are just too good, these memes.
I can't even remember what I was saying now.
Sorry. It's power of the
basically saying about how in those two particular scenes we got the Darth Vader we wanted instead of the Darth Vader from. Well, granted, it was 4, 5, 6, still very cool, but in terms of actually in action and doing stuff, not a huge amount going on there.
Yeah.
So it's like in 4, 5, and 6, have like this Darth Vader who's already killed so many people. 20 plus years since the end of episode 3, game Darth Vader, and just kind of need to stand. He basically just needs to stand there and block fighting Luke, for Christ's sake.
But yeah, it's just what I would describe him as like in the originals is more of a he's very menacing just by walking around and just doing stuff, but in terms of action, not huge amount. But yeah, it's just more of a product of the time, like unfortunately. But
yeah, but I think it really worked well with Vader's image, right? Because he really doesn't. He's really that guy who doesn't have to run around and jump around like an idiot, like in episode 3. He just goes and just one single attack and just everyone is dead. Because really Vader is so much stronger than almost anyone. So it gives more power to in his image in a point of view.
yeah, definitely. Because after all, to fall someone who is a Darth of the dark side, they have to be very, very powerful. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think there's a I think that's a good point. So yeah.
Yeah. I love these
Anything
memes.
else? Sorry, go on.
There we go. I
Memes.
think that's it, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's almost time to finish it because it's really. I think I really enjoyed this little talk to something different, different than SAO.
Certainly something different.
But
something different, yeah.
I think we also make so many memes that it really was this episode, and even if it was only just the three of us and Len's technical difficulties, I had a lot of fun as usual. So I think it's thank you anyone for listening to us talking about
if you've managed to stick this far.
Yeah. Well, dear viewers, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for getting to us blaming everything on the sequel trilogy. And well, next time we will be back with SAO related topic. No idea as of now what, but we definitely
will be something.
Yeah.
It will be something SEO related.
Yes. we have to go back to our roots now.
We had our fun.
Yeah.
Time to move on now.
Yes. So thank you for listening to us and have a good day.
Adios.
Farewell.